For this, you'll need some sort of letters. Now, I used my die cut machine, but you can use stickers. And then 2 of these large love signs from Dollar Tree. And we're going to keep those metal hearts, and we're going to put those on the sign. Here are some of the tools we'll need. Here's what you'll need for the paint stir sticks. 2 at 8 inches and 8 and 5/16 inches, 2 at 10 and 7/16 inches, and 2 at 16 and 3/4 inches. That's a lot to say. So we'll start by taking off the twine that's on the back of both of these signs. Pliers make it easy for me, so that's what I use. Then you're going to sand off those little spots where those staples were. Then we're going to take off those metal hearts, and we are going to use them, so make sure you don't, tear them apart too bad. They are metal, so you're not going to really tear them apart. But just take those off. Now we are going to want to use this side of the sign since it has those shiplap looking lines that are indented into the sign. So we're going to go ahead and sand off where those hearts came off. Alright, and then we're going to start putting it together. So we're going to count out the tongue depressors or popsicle sticks or whatever. I used 10 of them, I believe. And then I'm using a wood glue gun, so there's wood glue in there, which helps out a bit. Now we're going to paint our sign. I'm going to paint mine white, but of course you could choose any color you like. Now I had a bit of a problem with the way my little sign indents or shiplap was looking. So I was attempting to go ahead and paint the inside of those indents to try to make them all look similar. And then later I'll go back and make them dark again, I guess. Now this is going to be my 3rd coat of paint on this. I wish I would have just done black first. It would have been so much easier. But so on this coat I am going around all of the edges and all of the sides so that they're all white. Now we're going to go back with a pencil and make the shiplap lines look kind of like shiplap lines. So just going to use a pencil and go in those indents and just kind of draw them back in. Now where I join the signs together, there's no indent, so I actually have to just look to see where they're connected and then just draw a brand new line. Now I got my sign words off of the Silhouette Studio, and just a font I got from dafont.com, just a free font. I'm not using it commercially, so I'm using it for this design. So I'm just going to print that out, or cut that out, I guess, on my Silhouette. And then just going to use the transfer tape. Just rub that down so that I can transfer it onto my sign. Now remember, you wouldn't have to use a die cutter or whatever. You can just use letters from Walmart or Dollar Tree or Target or wherever. You don't have to make your own letters. It just looks really good when you do. Now since there are those indents in the sign, I'm going to go ahead and cut the vinyl right there so that there's no issues there. So we're just going to cut across any of those lines where the words cross over. Now we're going to add the metal hearts back to the sign and just, figure out how you like them, how you want them to look. I didn't like the one by itself, so I did decide to go with two. And I'm just going to use regular hot glue to put them down. Again, you could use E6000 or super glue or whatever other glue you wanted, but hot glue is easy for me. Now we're going to make our border or our frame for our sign. So I'm just using, again, the 5-gallon paint stir sticks, and we're just going to measure them out to make them fit around the outer edge. Now we're going to paint all of our stir sticks. And finally, it's time to start assembling. This is where your glue is going to take effect. So I am going to end up using the wood glue, not the regular hot glue. But this is where we're going to do that. And then on the back, once you've glued them together, I'm going to reinforce it with lots more glue on the back. Lots more. Now we're going to attach the sign to the frame that we just made. So just need to make sure you have enough space everywhere, it's lined up, it's even, all of that. It's so cute! Once I've got it all lined up, I'm going to go ahead and take my wood glue and wood glue it together. And when we do this, you are going to have to press down fairly hard because those signs are not even, they're not flat. So you do have to press down hard. So since this was a large sign, I had to actually get out my tape measure to see where the middle was. So that's what I'm doing, just measuring, trying to figure out where the middle is so that I can put that hanger right in the middle so it doesn't lay crooked. Alright, so putting this sawtooth hanger in was funnier than I would have ever thought. I couldn't get it in. My little useless hammer is a little baby hammer. That thing would not hammer this sawtooth hanger in. It took me a minute. Now after everything was put together, I am going to cover the back. I'm just going to paint it. If you have that brown paper, that brown craft paper, that would be a good covering for the back. Or even a piece of cardboard would be good for the back. I'm just going to paint it though. That's easy for me. I think this is my favorite sign ever. I like it because it's just simple. It's one that can hang all year. You don't have to put it away after Valentine's Day or, before Easter or after Christmas or whatever. Just leave it on the wall all day. It is just beautiful all year. I absolutely love it. And that is an R, not a V in the word more. I know it looks like a V. I know. Today we're going to make a little ring or earring tray. I saw this on the Crafty DIY guy. He did a haul and he showed this and he said this would be a great tray, basically. And I took the idea and I ran with it because I had to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this craft paper for the bottom there inside each little section. And I'm going to paint the whole box. So I was trying to decide whether I was going to do the barn stain or the black, but you know me, I always go for the black, so that's what I did. So we're going to paint everything, the inside, the outside, the back. Now because the paper is going in the little drawers or slots, you don't have to paint that full bottom inside because the paper will cover that. But everything else needs a good, true, especially if you're doing black, a good, true, rich black cover. And then, of course, for those of you that like distressing, of course, you would then distress it. I don't do that very often, so I didn't here either. But here I'm going to go ahead and get the inside. Now I'm just going to cover a little bit into the middle so that if my paper is a little off, it won't show the wood. It'll show only the black. So I'm just going to paint it all around. And then I'm just going to measure. This was approximately 3¼ inches. And so I'm just going to measure and make the lines so that I can then cut the paper to fit. Now, if you wanted them all to match, if you wanted each box to be the same design, obviously you would do this a little different. I wanted it to be different in each box, so I chose 4 different papers that I liked. And this is just gold and white. I think it's Christmas, actually. Christmas cardstock that I got. I didn't even get it this year. I don't know when I got it. I've had this for a while. It was in my stash that was saved. So then I have to figure out, make sure the size works, because then I'm going to use that one as the template for all the others. So there's the 4 patterns that I chose. And of course, do what you need to do. Do how you want it to look. And I'm going to use wood glue. I don't know why I did wood glue. I don't know, because I guess the box was wood. The paper is wood, I guess. I don't know. But I chose wood glue, and I am just going to drop it in there, but then paint it around so it's a smoother finish. And then we're just going to go ahead and put the paper down. Now, I could have used Mod Podge. I was worried about wrinkling, though, so I didn't use Mod Podge on the bottom. I did actually Mod Podge the top, on top of the paper. And then I have to make feet, because, I want feet on everything. So I use these little blocks from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to paint them black. I'm going to leave one side unpainted, because that'll be the side I'm going to glue. And to glue it, I'm going to use both wood glue and hot glue. Because I do need that, or I do want that immediate hold, but then wood glue so it lasts a little longer. And I'm putting it right near the corner, very close to the corner. And I put 5 of those blocks, 1 in the middle and then 1 on each corner. And there we go. That's what we've got. Got my little earrings in there. And the room spray that I keep in the bathroom, and then the diffuser that I keep in the bathroom. And as you can see, my diffuser sticks are black because I love black, so of course they're black. Sorry about that. This will be for the front door hanger. Just a large round wood from Hobby Lobby, and this stem, is this again eucalyptus? I don't know. This stem from Dollar Tree. And this wood was part of the spring, when it was spring sale where everything was 60% off. And so I believe I paid, I don't know, maybe $10, maybe $8, something like that. I never pay much when I'm at Hobby Lobby because I ban their high prices. So it's always got to be on a deep sale in order for me to purchase it. But this piece of wood is very large and quite heavy and nice wood. So I'm just going to need to sand it down a bit so it's smooth. And that's true on the sides and on the inside. And then I'm just going to wipe it off with that wet wipe. And then we're going to make a stain. I'm not going to use real stain because I need it to dry fast. So I'm just going to use a bit of brown paint and then a bit of water. And we're going to just make our own stain. And that paint was just a regular brown acrylic paint, nothing special. Probably Apple Barrel, maybe. I'm not sure. Probably from Walmart, my guess is. Maybe even Dollar Tree, I don't know. And so it's a little bit golden. It looks more golden here than it is when it actually dries. But I'm okay with it. I want it to be a light brown. Everything on the outside of my house is an off-white. And then I've got black accents. And then my brick is that brownish color that I am not a fan of. It's basically the same color as my fireplace. That's basically the same brick. And so that's what I'm needing it to go with. So that's what I'm doing here. And just going to paint it on like it was a stain. And this is true for every edge of this wall hanging, or door hanging, I guess. So the outer edge, the inside, the outside, like every side needs to be covered in this stain. Even that outside edge there, I do go back and stain that as well. And then for the inside of the sign, all I'm going to do is a very simple hi word. And just made this on my silhouette. And I made it rather large. I think it ended up being like 8 by 10 or something to that effect. And I liked this font, so this is the one I used. Easiest weeding job ever in life. Easiest ever. The bigger you make your words, the easier it is to weed. And using the trick where you turn it upside down to take it off of the mat, the mat, the cutting mat. It makes it easier. It makes it so it doesn't curl up so much and all of that. And then that edge, I didn't cut it well enough, so I'm just going back to cut that. Make sure to cover up your mat so that it stays sticky. And then we're just going to cut this stem. The stem has 2 pieces of the leaves, so we're just going to cut them apart so that I can make them into the shape that I'm needing. I could not get this cut. It took me forever. My hands were not strong enough to do this. I should have used a different tool, but I didn't, so I did end up getting it cut. And then once I've got my word weeded, I'm going to put the transfer tape on it. This is just the cheap Dollar Tree transfer tape. And this is a good vinyl. This is the Cricut vinyl that I'm using here. Not using the Dollar Tree vinyl for the outside wall hanging. So we're just going to make this stick down here. And once I've got this down, I didn't show it, but I did Mod Podge this whole sign with the dishwasher safe Mod Podge so that if it does get wet, it'll be okay. I'm just going to hot glue the florals onto this sign. This way, if I want to switch them, or if I want to switch this to a Christmas theme or a winter theme or whatever else, I can do that. And that's it. And I do like it. I love that it's so big and so simple. Like, this pretty much explains everything about me, right? Everything is just big and obnoxious, yet very simple. I love it. And I probably will have to move the floral over, or the little leaf over a little bit, but I haven't done that yet. So today we're going to make a cute little tray for my side table at my couch. Those are the supplies. And I got one of these little, is that a hexagon, I believe, tray, $3 at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use a dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I'm doing that because I am going to put a coaster in here to hold my drinks. And I figured that's a simple way to make it a little bit better. If it gets wet, it's not going to resolve any problems, but it at least will make it better. It won't kill the wood. And I'm going to, of course, I have to include my black. You know, I can't just leave it natural. So I'm going to go ahead and tape the top half off. And I am going to paint the bottom of the little tray black. Now, I did go through, I put the tape all the way around, and then I did go through and actually squeegee it down just to make sure I didn't get any bleedage in there. And this tape, I think this is just probably even maybe Dollar Tree painter's tape. And then I'm just going to use a regular brush, and I'm just going to brush with the grain of the wood. For some reason, I believe that's better when you're using the tape. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm going to paint the bottom black. And I have that little Lazy Susan that I made to make it easier to paint when it needs to be up off the ground, up off the table. And then it's also easier when I dry it. So I just still use a hairdryer to dry the paint. Chalk paint, it's best to use the cool setting, so that's what I do. And then the best part is revealing that really nice straight line with no bleedage. I did paint a little bit on the bottom around the edges so that you wouldn't see any of the wood come through if you were to pick up the piece. And here we're going to make a bottom for the piece. We're going to put felt on the bottom, and we're going to put leather on the inside. So this is kind of cool. So I'm just cutting out the piece on a piece of paper and making a template basically so I can cut the leather and the felt. And then we just got to make sure that it fits, which is it's a little tight, so I did end up cutting just a little bit off in the corner there. And then we're going to take our felt and we're going to line it up, or line the paper up on the felt, I guess. And we're going to go ahead and cut that out. Now, I just cut a big square out first, and then I went back and used a pencil to line it, make a line around the paper to cut it out. And then we'll make sure it fits okay. There was a couple little spots where the line wasn't straight enough because I did just use regular scissors. So I'm going through and using a ruler, basically a metal ruler, And I'm just going to cut off that little bit of edge that wasn't straight. And this is that Dollar Tree rolling knife. I don't know what it's called, but that's what I call it. And then we're going to hot glue the felt down onto the bottom. And remember, I left the edges just a little bit black on the edges. Not the whole bottom, because we didn't need to do all that. But the edges, just in case you could see through. And then I'm using the scraper just to push down that felt to make sure it's super flat with no bumps. And then we're basically going to do the same thing for the leather. Now the leather is going to go inside the tray, so it's just a tiny bit smaller. So you do have to make that modification, but we can basically use the same template. And for this leather, I'm using a narrow tip Sharpie. And then make sure, cut it out, and then make sure it fits. And again, it was a little off, so I did cut off one of the edges. And I'm just using hot glue to glue it in. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to sit outside or anything, so I think hot glue is just fine. And then I wanted handles on it. I wasn't sure. I had taken out some wood leaves that I was going to put on there, but I didn't like the way that was going to turn out. So instead, I took these little Coach, I don't know what it is, some sort of decoration I had on some shoes that I was throwing out, and I really like the little decoration, so I used those. And then I'm going to use some scraps of that leather. So I just made little straps to connect it, and that's the little Coach thing that was on my shoe. Cleaned and shined up, of course. And this is what you get. It is an adorable little tray. All right, so we are going to be making this bag dispenser box. For this, we're going to need some sort of box. I got this holiday box from Dollar Tree during Christmas, so something like that works perfect. So we're going to start off by just cutting out the square where the bag is going to come out of. I thought about making a whole box, but there's a UPC box right there. So then I said, well, just cut out the UPC box. It's a great shape. So that's what I ended up doing there. Now, cutting out the little box there wasn't the easiest thing ever because this is a heavy-duty box. But if you go over it a few times, you know, it will come out. Just obviously be careful because you are using, you know, a utility knife or X-Acto knife or whatever. So just be careful. Don't cut yourself and, you know, have to call ER or whatever. And then once we've got that all cut out, you do want to test it. Make sure the bags come through it nicely the way you're wanting. And here's where I go back and just use the glue gun to kind of, I don't know, I guess just mold that cardboard down so that it's smooth and not rough. And you know, use your finger protectors, obviously, because this will burn you. And then we get to start decorating. So we're just going to paint. Again, I chose to go with this light gray that I just made out of that black and white paint. But this is where you get to choose what is best for your settings. So whatever colors you like in your home or wherever you're going to put this, that's what colors you would use. And I mixed chalk paint with acrylic paint, and somehow this was a great mix. I don't know why. It was nice and smooth and went on so nicely and looked so good. I was so excited over it. And we're just going to paint the complete box. The top, the whole box, all the way down, even into that little hole a little bit. And then here I'm doing the top. I'm using one of those little daubers from the Dollar Tree. Sorry you can't see it here. But just doing the top very carefully because I like the red interior, so I'm leaving that red. But I just wanted to get the very top of that box. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cover everything with Mod Podge. This will be an item that will be somewhat abused because of its purpose, so I did want to protect it, you know, as much as I can. All right, and then we are going to paint the knob to open the box with black. So I had this little wooden knob from Walmart. There was a set of two. I don't know, it was probably $2 or $3. and I thought it was a good size for this box, but you could use a drawer pull or any other knob you might have around the house. And then after I paint it black, I'm also going to put Mod Podge on it, again, just because of the purpose of this box. I want it to be protected. And then we're going to go ahead and add some ribbon to the top, to the box top. I believe this was from Walmart, probably after Christmas sale, I'm guessing. And I like that pattern, and it was a perfect size or a perfect width for this box top. So I'm just going to wrap it around, measure it all the way around, and then cut it. And then we're going to use a double-sided tape just to start and finish the ribbon. This is like some kind of heavy-duty stuff. You don't need that. You could just use the regular stuff from Dollar Tree. The jute double-sided tape would probably be okay just to hold it, because it's just a temporary hold until we can get the ribbon glued on. So again, that tape is just for a temporary hold until we can get the glue down. And we're just going to use a little bit of hot glue on each corner, not in the middle where you'll see it, just on the corners. And you can see I have my little wet nap there because I put too much, because I'm obnoxious like that. So I just had to wipe some of that hot glue off. And then at the end there, again, the double-sided tape is there, so then you can go ahead and cut off the end. And then we will worry about or fix the end part there, where we're going to fold it under. First, let's go ahead and tape down the corners of that ribbon. Is what we'll do first. And that's where I burned my finger. And then we're going to bend over the edge of that ribbon and then glue that down. And if I would have had finger protectors, I would have been, you know, better off, but I didn't. And so there's that, all finished up. This is the back of the box, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, as good as you can make it. And here we're going to do the drawer pull or handle. So we're going to just find the middle, and I'm just going to drill a small hole through the middle. It's obviously a box. It's not nearly as thick as a drawer. So I just added a bead, and then we're just going to poke that through and then screw the handle, or is that called a handle? Drawer pull? Whatever that is, screw that in. And I do end up having to use the drill because, you know, it does need to be tight on there, so. And then last was just adding that hanger. Now the hanger, you know, obviously it's a box. It's not a big wood plaque. So I put some hot glue to cover those little pointy parts out. And then I also added a piece of foam, the foam sticky tape on there as well. So here is the finished project. And I absolutely love this. I don't know why I'm so excited about this. I just think it's just the cutest thing ever. I love the colors, I guess, and the simplicity of it. But I just love it. And my husband wasn't nearly as excited as I was, but my goodness, look at this. It's so cute. So first we're going to make a tray using some wood rulers, a Dollar Tree sign, and Dollar Tree drawer pulls. I got 33 wood rulers from a middle school sale down the street from my house. And I picked out all of the ones that were the same. These are all Office Depot rulers. So what I'm going to first do is I have to take off all these stickers, because the back of the ruler is what I'm using, because the back is blank, of course. So I'm just heating up the little stickers and tags and everything, heating it up, and then they come off very easily. Then we have to get the sign ready, and we're just going to take off that ribbon hang strap string that they've got. And then, of course, this is from Dollar Tree, so of course there's 46 pounds of glitter that we do have to remove. We don't have to remove it completely, but just enough so that the rulers can stick to this side of the board. So I'm just using a sanding block from Dollar Tree and just going to get as much of the glitter off as I can without working too hard, because I don't want to work real hard at this. I want this to be easy. And then once I've got the glitter off, I use my little handy vacuum. If y'all don't have one of these, you need to get one. I think they're like 10 bucks or something. They're so helpful. They pick up all the glitter. And then we're going to have to cut down the sign, because the sign is more than 12 inches long or tall, whatever. So we're just going to make a line at how long we want the board to be. You do want your board to be a little bit smaller than your ruler so that you can't see it, basically, is the idea. So I'm just going to measure and make a line. We want this to be super even. And then once we've done all that, I'm going to get out my little Dollar Tree cutting boards that I have taped together. And we're going to cut off that piece that we just measured out. And I'm just going to use a straight edge knife, the Dollar Tree version, and just going to cut along that line that I made. Now these rulers have the little metal piece on the side of the ruler. So I was trying to use that to try to guide, but my hands are not steady enough. I couldn't do that. So I just need to use my eyeballs and just look and see where to cut. And so if you cut this many, many times, that same line many, many times, it becomes weak enough where you can then kind of bend it to break it. And then on the back, just cut off the paper that's connecting it. And ta-da, you've got it perfect. And then we're going to flip it over and then cut off any of the little scraps that may be hanging on for dear life. We're just going to take those off. I'm not going to sand the edge or anything like that. All we're going to do now is we're going to attach the rulers to the sign. Now, of course, the rulers are not going to be exactly the same. Each of them are not going to be exactly the same. They're very similar, and so, you know, you could probably make it work no matter what. But what I did is I just grabbed a bunch of them and I picked out the ones that were a good pattern that I liked because they are wood, so you can see the wood pattern, and then also those that were the straightest, because there was one or two that had like a little bit of a curve to them. And I'm just going to use wood hot glue to glue this down. You could, of course, just use regular wood glue. I didn't find that to be necessary, so I'm just using my wood hot glue. And you just want to make sure there's a little bit of overlap on all three sides of the ruler. The top, bottom, and the outside. You want just a little bit of overlap. And then everything beyond that just needs to get glued next to the one to the left of it. Or I guess if you're going the other direction, it'd be to the right. I don't know. And then the last one on the other side, same thing. You just want to ensure that there's a little bit of hangover on both sides or all three sides. And once we're done with that, then we're going to put on this little drawer pull that I got from Dollar Tree. We're going to put one on each side. I'm just trying to figure out where I want it. The screws, of course, are way too long for this very thin tray. So I'm just using hot glue. Obviously, you cannot pick up this tray from these handles. That is not what these handles are for. They are simply there for looks. But I do like the way they look, and so I was fine with just hot gluing them. If you have some sort of magic to make the screws fit there, then, you know, I'm all about it. And that's it. Like, that's it, guys. Like, that's it. You glue some rulers to a board, and you get the cutest tray. Look at how adorable that is. I love it. And it's, you know, it's 12 inches long, so it's big enough to actually put stuff on it. Is actually using this very beautiful tequila bottle. Now, if you're not a drinker, you know, whatever, there's other bottles or vases you can get. But we're going to use this bottle as a vase because it is absolutely beautiful and it is glass. And so what we're going to need to do is just basically take off all of the labels. There were, how many? 4 labels, I think, on this bottle. So I just got my hairdryer out and started peeling away because, you know, that's how we melt the glue, is just by getting it hot. So if it's not hot enough, it will tear. And so it started to tear, so I stopped and got my heater back out, or my hairdryer back out. And then I used this little scraper from Dollar Tree to try to help a little bit as well. And then as it got warm, it just easily peeled off. And there was actually no residue left once I peeled it all off completely when I used the hairdryer. There was no residue on any of the different spots where it had the labels. But do you see the glass on that bottle? I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. That's the only reason why I bought this bottle of liquor, is because I saw the bottle and I thought, oh my God, that is beautiful. I need it in my house as a vase. I knew right away. So that's why I got it. And it wasn't very good. The tequila in it was not very good. It's called, what is it, Mi Familia or whatever. I don't know how to, I'm not good at Spanish, but the tequila was not very good. But the bottle is absolutely gorgeous and was worth the price of admission for sure. And then once we get all of the stickers off, we'll just wipe it down with alcohol a little bit to get rid of any residue that may be left. But look at how gorgeous that bottle is. I mean, I really actually love it. Like, I don't know why I love it so much, but I think it's just beautiful. The etching in that glass is just, I love it. So that's a quick tequila bottle hat. We'll need for this just some Jenga blocks and either a cutting board or a decorative board from Dollar Tree. And what we're doing is we're going to make a cup holder or a mug holder. This all stemmed from when I was really sick a couple weeks ago and I could barely move. And holding my coffee mug was too much. It was too difficult. And I couldn't set it on the side table because it was too much. And again, it was too much to handle. So that's where this all stemmed from. So I'm going to use the Dollar Tree little, some sort of decorative plaque. I believe they still have these. This is an old one that I just had in my stash, but I believe they still have something like this. You could also use the wooden cutting boards. It would be a bit bigger, but you could do that as well. So I'm just tracing out my mug. Now I always use Raydun mugs, so they're quite large and all the same size basically. So I just traced out the bottom to get an idea of how big this holder is going to have to be. So once I've traced it, I'm just going to test it quite a few times just to make sure, because you'll see it's a little snug there, so I do have to make adjustments just to make sure. I want it to fit well and easily without any trouble. So once I've got it all figured out, I'm just going to use some wood hot glue to connect all the pieces together. And these are just the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, by the way. And then the wood hot glue and then the decorative plaque that I'm gluing the wood blocks to. And I'm one of these fanatical people where I want all the blocks to look the same. So I'm just sorting them out so that those with a lot of stripes all go together. So that's what I was doing there. And what I've decided to do in terms of design is to stack the blocks 2 blocks tall and then shift the blocks over for the next 2 blocks tall. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you see what I'm doing here, I'm just stacking 2 blocks tall all the way around, and then you'll see in my next step, I'm going to move them over a bit and do the same thing again, 2 blocks tall. So you'll see I've got my 2 bottom blocks down, and now you'll see I'm just adjusting a little bit to make it so that they're crossing each other just a bit. And always testing to make sure my mug still fits, because you know these Jenga blocks, they're not all equal, so sometimes they're a little crooked or leaning or whatever else. So want to test as you go to make sure your mug is going to fit. But you'll see it fits in there perfectly. And then I do go back and I'm going to spray it with this Mod Podge just to seal it. And then we're going to put a coaster. This is a quart coaster I got from Daiso. We're going to put that at the bottom just so that if I was actually drinking something cold, it wouldn't be dripping onto the wood. So again, just framing out or tracing out the bottom of my big mug, and then just going to cut that out. I'm not going to glue this cork in the bottom there at all. I'm literally just going to set it in there. And that's it. Just that easy. And so this is my little spot. When I was sick, I just couldn't, it was so difficult to roll over to the left there, or to the right from your view. It was actually quite a chore, so it actually hurt. So I wanted this at that point. I didn't make it in time, but I have it for next time just in case. But it is handy because it can sit on my couch without me worrying about it spilling. That's it. That's all it was. And this could sit anywhere on your couch or on a chair or whatever else. I thank you so much for stopping by Natty's Crafts today. I sure hope you'd go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and make sure to subscribe. And of course, whenever you subscribe, you should hit the bell so that you know when the next video comes out. And do remember to always appreciate today, as tomorrow is never promised. Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a great one.